Professor Zixtai had been teaching galactic studies at the Andromeda University for 3 centuries. She prided herself on maintaining the most orderly, predictable classroom environment in the entire academic sector. Her students, a mix of Rigelians, Centaurians, and vegan scholars, were model pupils who absorbed knowledge quietly and respectfully. Then the Human Exchange Program brought Emily Patterson to her classroom. "Today we will examine theoretical stellar mechanics," Professor Zixtai announced, activating the holographic display showing a complex star system. "Please observe the gravitational interactions between." "Excuse me," interrupted the human student, raising what they called a hand. "That star's about to go supernova." The entire class turned to stare. Professor Zixtai's eye stalks twitched in annoyance. "Miss Patterson, this is a theoretical simulation designed to demonstrate stable orbital mechanics. The star has been programmed to remain in perfect equilibrium for teaching purposes." Emily squinted at the display, tilting her head at an angle that made several Rigelian students nauseous. "Yeah, but look at the chromosphere fluctuations. See how it's pulsing? And the magnetic field lines are all wonky. That's textbook pre-supernova behavior." "Impossible," Professor Zixtai huffed. "The simulation parameters specifically prevent any stellar instability. The computer cannot." The holographic star exploded. Emergency alarms shrieked through the classroom as the simulation's safety protocols engaged, preventing the miniature supernova from actually incinerating everyone. Professor Zixtai's mandibles clicked frantically as she shut down the system. "How did you?" she began, but Emily was already examining another display. "This galaxy model is wrong too," the human announced cheerfully. "See this spiral arm? It's colliding with that other one probably in about 50 million years. And that black hole's eating stars way faster than your calculations show." Professor Zixtai checked the parameters. The galaxy simulation had been running the same stable configuration for decades, used to teach thousands of students about galactic structure. According to her instruments, everything was perfectly normal. Emily pointed to a small, seemingly insignificant fluctuation in the outer rim. "Dark matter's clumping weird right there. That's gonna cause problems." Within minutes, the simulated galaxy began tearing itself apart. "This is impossible," Professor Zixtai exclaimed, her voice reaching frequencies that made her students' translator devices squeal in protest. "These are educational simulations. They're specifically programmed to demonstrate stable, predictable phenomena." "Well, yeah," Emily said, now examining a supposedly stable wormhole that was beginning to collapse. "But stuff's never actually stable, is it? Everything's always changing, breaking down, or blowing up. You just have to know what to look for." By the end of class, Emily had correctly predicted the collapse of 2 star systems, identified a brewing galactic war based on subtle territorial expansion patterns, and casually mentioned that the classroom's artificial gravity generator was making a weird humming noise that indicated imminent failure. Professor Zixtai ran a full diagnostic on the gravity generator after class. Emily was right. It was due for catastrophic failure within the week. "Professor?" asked Veltar, a particularly bright Centaurian student. "How did the human detect instabilities in systems programmed to be stable?" Professor Zixtai had been wondering the same thing. She'd spent the evening researching human evolution and made a disturbing discovery. Humans came from what the galactic community classified as a Class 12 death world, a planet so violently unstable that survival required constant vigilance for catastrophic change. "It appears," she said slowly, "that humans have evolved to instinctively recognize patterns of impending disaster. Living on a world where volcanoes, earthquakes, storms, and mass extinctions occur regularly has given them an unconscious ability to detect systemic instabilities that our more peaceful species cannot perceive." The next day, Emily arrived to find her desk surrounded by worried-looking professors from the physics, geology, and engineering departments. They'd brought their stable simulations and models, hoping she might spot any potential problems. She did. All of them. Within a week, The university had quietly restructured their entire curriculum around human pattern recognition. Emily found herself inadvertently teaching professors who had decades more experience than her, simply by pointing out what seemed obvious to her Deathworld-trained instincts. "Is it always like this?" asked Professor Zixtai during their final class session. "Living with the constant awareness that everything might suddenly go catastrophically wrong?" Emily shrugged, a gesture that still made her alien classmates nervous. "Pretty much. But that's what makes life interesting, right? Plus, you learn to fix stuff really fast when everything's always breaking." Professor Zixtai made a note in her academic report, recommending